Hey there, welcome to day 119 of playing chess until I reach 1500 Elo. Currently we're at 1282 after a win in our last game. And let's go ahead and jump into another 15-minute rapid game here. And see what we get up against. Okay, whoa. I gotta get matched against a 1468. That's crazy. Okay, well let's play against him. And I got white so I can try my new Jobava London opening that I learned. Except I'm a little scared now playing a new opening against a guy who's almost 1500 already. Let's see what happens. Could be messy. Okay, so he's going with immediately going for like the King's Indian setup. So I think in that case I'm just gonna, I guess I won't really get the Jobava London because I'll just take the center here. Though it will be a little bit different. But let's see what happens. But yeah, I think if they go for this like King's Indian setup, you just want to immediately take the center. And then if he doesn't play d6, then I probably will just kick his knight. Because then it's forced to go... I think it's forced to go back if he doesn't play d6. Because if he goes here, go here, I mean then he can hop back again, but then that's even worse. Okay. Oh, he pushes all the way to d5. So do I still just play this? I think I just play this, right? Then he's able to hop here, actually. Then take. I have a pawn in the center. A little unusual. Otherwise, I could just support my center here. Okay, I'm just gonna kick him. Let's just try that. And yeah, I assume he'll just play here. At e4, we take. This pawn gets here. Is he able to... Oh no, he goes back. Okay. Well, that's, I think, even better. In fact, we're able to take this. But is that a trap of some sort? I don't know. If I take there and he takes, like, here. But then I take here and the knight's supported, so I think we're fine. Okay. I think I can take. Let's just do it. Maybe he was thrown off by my opening. Because he seems like he is misplaying it here. Gave up that pawn, and I don't think he has any kind of follow-up. Yeah, no. Okay. He has poor development. But now, how do I want to proceed here? I could just play typical moves. Support this pawn. I feel like there's probably more aggressive things I can go with, but it might be hard to find the right moves. I could go here. If he kicks me, I'm not sure if I get anything from that. This doesn't do anything. This queen takes. Okay, I'm just gonna develop my knight. I feel like there's probably some better moves I could find here, but I'm not totally sure. Maybe play here and try to bring the queen over this way. If I could double attack this, which is what you typically do in the Jobava London anyway, that would be good. Do I just trade this knight off? He's double attacking it, so either I hop away or I just trade it, and then he'll probably take this way, open up his rook. think I'd probably just trade it. Otherwise, where would I be hopping it? Hopping it back. We're up a pawn. I think trading is probably fine. And we still have 2 defenders on this pawn as well. Okay, he opens up his rook. Let's just pin this knight right away, because why not? He attacks this with the rook or something. Probably could just go here. Actually, is that good or is that bad? Maybe I could go here. Yeah. Let's just do this to develop. And I should just look to get castle, because obviously I have an advantage. I'm up a pawn, and my development is a lot better. And I have control of the center here. Alright, he breaks the pin. The knight will be able to hop here at some point. So I could just like solidify this pawn chain potentially. If he does play this later on, could attack the pawn chain. Might be fine though. Maybe I'll just develop the bishop out. What about, can the knight do anything over this way? Actually, maybe I should have done knight to bishop to here and use the knight to double attack this. For now, I think I'll just develop this bishop. Just place this on a centralized square and like support this pawn for now. Maybe I want to avoid him pinning this knight actually. I mean, right now he's using it to unpin his knight. But I wouldn't really like if he were back here pinning my knight. But maybe I think he'll just keep it here because he wants to keep his knight unpinned. Bishop does develop out normally. Also, typically I would castle queenside in this kind of setup, but because his rook is opened up, I might just castle kingside. But yeah, normally in this against the King's Indian, I'd go for this pawn push and try to castle the other way. So maybe let's wait on castling and see what happens. Just a little bit. Actually, I don't know. It is kind of natural to just castle, and I'm up material. So, is there any kind of danger with something here? Take. No, I don't think there is. This is all pretty well guarded. Okay, I think I will just castle. Let's just play safe and use our advantage that we have. Get everything. Get all my pieces on good squares. Okay, yeah, so we're not going to be able to attack quite as much as I typically would with the pawn push because I did castle the same way. And let's just bring... Where does the queen want to go? Maybe let's try connect the pawns first. And then the queen can come out this way if I want it to. Maybe... How can we attack this pawn? Queen here actually would be good to attack that pawn. Although his bishop could come there. So maybe let's just connect the pawns here. Prevent the knight from ever hopping over here. I'm not sure if it would matter too much, but it seems like a good idea. And then... What did that move do? I'm not sure. He's closing his bishop in. The only big weakness is going to be these pawns back here. I think I'm just going to put my rook here. Maybe could try to swing the rook up this way. And then bring the queen over as well. I do have this to hit the queen. But do I want to reserve this square for my knight potentially? And maybe try to create a checkmate threat here? That might be better. His knight here doesn't really have anywhere great. Okay, he does hop back that way. I think I'll just take the bishop and trade. Otherwise, yeah, I think I'll take it, because then that also makes this pawn weaker. If I attack it this way, he doesn't have the bishop to just step in there and block it. So that's good. And I'm thinking just go here and then here. Otherwise, I could go here, try to get the queen over this way, get the bishop to take. This pawn is potentially, could be targeted, but I think I should just focus on creating an attack. And I could always just temporarily guard it like this or something. Okay, I'm just gonna go here. Maybe he'll just kick me right away, but that will create more weaknesses. This I could take, I guess. Do I want to take that? Maybe. I do want to make space for the queen to come over here, if possible. Let's see if he does try to kick the knight right away. If he pushes this, then I could double up here and then look at trying to open that up that way after I hop away. So yeah, I definitely have a better position. If I just play solid moves and don't make any massive blunders, we should have a good chance of winning. But that's easier said than done. Okay, he doesn't kick me. Instead, he attacks the bishop. I think I'll just go here, because I want to prepare to make this checkmate threat. If he kicks me on the next move, maybe I'll move the bishop. Actually, no, because I'll have to move the knight first, and then he will be able to take the bishop. Do I want to allow that? I don't think I want to allow the bishop to be taken, because I want to use it to get rid of his dark square bishop. I think I should just move the bishop. Maybe just to here. Going back potentially limits my queen's ability to help out, so yeah, I think I'm just gonna go right here. Is there anything here? No, I don't think so. Just have to make sure though. Alright, let's go bishop here. And then once I come in here, I will be attacking this pawn and threatening to come over this way. The pawn's pretty easy to defend, but it does make his rook more passive. If he uses that rook there. Maybe he would use the other one, I don't know, but then they're both kind of stuck on one side while the king might be getting attacked. They'd be stuck on the queen side. So yeah, I would like to play here. Want to keep the bishop on the board and maybe look to trade it off over this way at some point. Or potentially look to like sacrifice it or something to open up the king. But I don't want to force a sacrifice if there isn't a good one. Okay. It's coming in. He's attacking this. Double attacking it. The rook could take. We would trade off. The queen would come over here. I could ignore that if I think I have a better threat. He is also cutting this off. I could just try to trade the queens, because if he takes, he can't take right away. So I would be threatening to take and trade the queens. And then we'd be in a winning endgame. So maybe I'll just go here regardless. And if he does try to take over here, I think I'll just trade and then go here. And try to create more pressure. If he goes here, I'm sure there must be some good follow-up. Knight comes back. Then we're double attacking this with the bishop and the queen. We look to take here. Although he does have this knight to guard as well. The other option would be just playing a more passive move like this, but I don't think that that is going to be the right way to go. Because then we create another weakness here, and we're not helping ourselves attack. So I'm thinking that I just go with this. If he trades, we would just come back with the knight. Let's do it. And if he does take, then I take, then he takes, then I can take here. I guess he could take here. I could take here. I don't know. I guess we'd just be eating up all of each other's pawns. Maybe he would end up, maybe he would actually still end up winning a pawn there. I'm not sure. Okay, he does take. So we're just going to try to play it for the endgame then. Actually, no. I think if he took, then I would have taken the queen, and then he has to take back. And then I take, no, I think he still won. Actually, I lost track of that. I got confused on that. I think maybe he could have still won pawns potentially, but I did have the ability to, if he went for that, take over here, I believe. I might need to check that in the game review though. Okay, his knight hops back. I don't have a way to attack his weak pawns on the diagonals now, so I might need to look to go for some kind of pawn break. Where do I want to make a pawn break? I'm thinking maybe just here, but then that does get rid of his weak pawn. Maybe that's good for him. But this doesn't seem as good. This would be another option. Doesn't seem as good because then it gives me this kind of weak pawn that's really far pushed forward. Maybe I should route my knight over. Where should it go? If I could get my knight here, that could be potentially good. Pressure this. Knight could go here. Yeah, I have to figure out what to do to proceed here. Maybe here. Look to push pawns this way. Do need to create some openings. Maybe I don't need to worry too much about him getting rid of his weak pawn. If it gives me my own advantage, like if I can open up files, then it will be worth it. So I think looking at this pawn maybe is kind of useless. I'm looking at it with 3 pieces. Maybe I go here or here and push something this way. Actually, yeah, I think I like this pawn break. Because it just seems like a natural spot to get in. We still keep his bishop closed off with this 2 pawn chain here. So let's push first. We could hop here to attack, but this is guarded. Okay, I'm going to push first and then maybe slide the rook over. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't want to overthink converting my advantage here, because I have a tendency to overthink in winning positions, and sometimes it can be, you know, to my own detriment. Okay. I don't think I want to push this. I could push this. Not entirely sure. Maybe I'll push this one too. If I push here, he takes, I take, and then I could try to just take this file right away. But I'd rather keep these 2 pawns together, so however I can do that would be the best. Let's push this one. I think I like that. Because then we're maybe able to control where we want to make the pawn break happen. If he pushes, I can take this way, he can take. Maybe I slide a rook over here or something. Okay, I'm just going to try that. Because all I should focus on is trying to just get my pieces active and open some files here. Just keep it simple. Okay, I think just connecting this would make sense. Could also guard it this way. But yeah, I think just doing this is reasonable. Either that or like this. Or I could... No, I can't push right away. Yeah, let's just connect it. Okay, I can use this rook to guard again, or I could use the bishop. The bishop is kind of stuck behind the pawn. Maybe it would be good. Could also attack the knight. He could hop here. Probably using the rook is good. Only thing is it does block the bishop off. You can't attack it right away. You know what? Let's use the bishop. I think the bishop is misplaced. It does disconnect the rooks, but I can always move up to here. And then his rooks look kind of pointless. Wait, actually the only problem is if he takes here, if I take back, then this pawn is pinned, so he could take... Hold on, so if I go here, he takes, I take, he wins a pawn, then he takes here if I take back. Okay, maybe it doesn't work. Let's use the rook. Oh, never mind, it applies either way. I messed up. I didn't realize that that was going to be a problem if I lifted the rook up as well. Okay, so we trade down. Now we'll be more equal here. Unless, is there anything else I could do? No, I can't move the rook to create a threat. And yeah, I think I definitely should just trade. Actually, no, never mind, because then when he takes, I don't have anything to block. So I can't trade. I don't have anything to block the king. So I think I need to keep this guarded. Actually, this is under attack. Let's move the knight to simply guard this pawn. And then we want to make a space for the king to move. Dang, I was totally aware of that for the bishop, and for some reason I didn't realize it. Same thing applied if I moved the rook up. Don't know why that didn't register. Anything else I can do here, though? Yeah, I think just going here. And then I need a space for the king to escape. So he got his pawn back. And I think we're pretty equal now. Okay, he's back to double attacking this. I still have two defenders. So let's just... Should I push this all the way? And if he does push this, I can take it. I don't see why not push it all the way. Then I do have a lot of hanging pawns on this rank though. So let's just go here. Okay, that's under attack. If I go here, takes. Take that. No, I don't think that works. He could take this maybe at some point. See, now I feel like he's playing more like a 1500 or close to that. Because he seems to be playing pretty well here. But at the opening, he definitely was messing up. Yeah, I'm on the defense here. Let's just go here. The guard. Maybe I will kick his knight. Because then where does it go? Has to go back. I mean, I guess it could go here. But then it's out of the game. So yeah, it probably would go back to here. So yeah, I'm interested in kicking his knight, but I don't have a great plan right now aside from that, just trying to get his pieces away. because he's creating a lot of pressure here. Maybe I shouldn't have just pushed all these pawns, because I think that might have been a mistake. It just created some openings for him. But I wasn't sure what else to do, because I was trying to push them so that I could create a pawn break in a controlled way that I wanted to. So yeah, I need to figure out what kind of plan I should have gone with. If not that, maybe the engine thinks that was fine, but I'll have to see. I mean, the main thing was not missing the fact that the pin was there when I moved the rook up, even though I saw it with the bishop. But what other response could I have had there? I'm not sure. Okay, he's just attacking the bishop. I think I might as well just take this and send his knight back to the edge. Unless this bishop, I mean, the bishop isn't really doing anything too important. His is pretty weak, but mine is pretty weak as well, so we're both just trading off a weak bishop, and then his knight gets worse. Let's just take it, because I am getting a little lower on time. And then let's prevent the knight from coming back to a good square here with the pawn. Now the knight actually can't go anywhere. And let's bring the king up, I think. His king can't come down this way. His knight is able to hop back here and then here. Also, I can go here to create pressure on his pawn and make him do something with that. I guess take here. We create maybe a square for the knight to jump in at some point. Although it does expose this pawn. Let's get the king up here where it can guard these. His knight is going to continue rerouting. Can't come here, he can't come here. Yeah, let's just bring the king up. Okay, so the king is one square away, able to defend here. I think I'm just going to go ahead and go here. Unless, do I want the knight here? No, I don't think so. Yeah, let's just attack that. Knight's guarding here. King is more active, so I like that. I can come up into here. His king can maybe try to come over this way, but that seems kind of bad. Okay, take. I do take a pawn, but then he can take here. And then I have to probably move my rook. Actually, he takes there with check. So then I guess I take, he takes, I move up. This pawn could fall down, could be taken, so I might have to go back. Otherwise I could push forward. This is guarded. I could go here. No, because then if he takes, this is still pinned. Okay, I think I'm just going to take... I mean, he also could take here right away. I do want my king to guard that. I'm just going to take... Okay, he does take that one right away. He is attacking the knight. Let's probably bring the knight here. Yeah, this seems like a nice spot. Because I'll have this outpost, which seems like a really nice place to be. Pressure that, we pressure this. Both those two pawns. Okay, I think I'll just go there right away since he's attacking the knight, or I could take first. He'll probably take this way. Maybe that does create a path for his king to come in, I'm not sure. I think I'll just take though. That is the pawn I was going to target. We go here, he takes, I take. Then I could use this pawn to cut his king off. I think... think I'll just hop here without taking. Because I'm just thinking of if he takes and I take here and I push this, then his king is more cut off, so. Not much else. I don't have many other ideas about that, but it just seems like it could end up being better. I'm attacking his pawn here. We're defending this pawn multiple times. Doesn't have this. This takes. Let's go here. If I could go here and then also bring this other pawn up to support these two, and then make sure something supports this pawn, then that might be pretty good. Have the pawns connected. Oh, I didn't even notice that he had that check there. If I go here, we could double up there. Yeah, let's just go to the side. We have tempo on this. Actually, then he can take this, but then I can take here. Let's just go to the side. See if he takes that. Okay, doubles up. That's probably better. I think I'll take here and just immediately open this up. I mean, how much danger is there here? You can't. Actually, if the knight is guarding this, yeah, let's take this way. I'm getting too low on time to think too much. The knight prevents a check here. He is able to take this whenever he wants. Oh, there's a check from the knight that I didn't notice. Missing all the checks right now. Here. I just have to go down. But take here, but then I have this pass pawn with our rook already behind it. Okay, he does that. Okay, that's not going to do anything. Do I attack the pawn at all? Do I try to trade the rooks? I think I just push. Let's actually no, because he could take right away first. Let's maybe try to trade the rooks first. Then he could win a pawn if I go that way. Back here. Does that do anything for me? Okay, I'm just going to attack his pawn. Oh my god. Okay, never mind. That was tragic. And that was with check. I'm back to not seeing knight moves, which is a flaw that I've had many times in the past, but sometimes I focus on it and I get a lot better, but that was pretty bad actually. That was really bad. So yeah, I'm still not totally sure if my break overall, I think I like that I learned my new opening with setting, but I did take a break a little bit longer than I was planning. Let's go ahead and resign. But yeah, I'm not totally sure. I feel like in some aspects, because I wasn't playing real rapid games, I might be a little bit rustier. I was feeling like that in the last game as well. Just in terms of like seeing checks and obvious threats. But it felt like I was pretty close to being able to beat a guy who was almost 1500, but then I just fell apart there at the end when I got too low on time. Let's go ahead and check the game review. But yeah, a blunder just completely sealed the game there. Wow, both of us have terrible accuracy. That's crazy, actually. 61 and 69. 5 blunders? Oh my. Gosh, this game was really bad. I can't believe I had 5 blunders. There's a big spike with like blunder, miss, blunder, miss, blunder, miss on the graph just over and over. So wow, that was a weird game. Let's go ahead and see what happened. Here we're all good. We're up a pawn. We trade everything. Okay, that was best. This was a blunder. How is this a blunder though? It says I'm losing a pawn, but I can't see how that would happen. How does it happen? And he can't take here, because I can always take with check if he takes anything, and this is guarded. Sometimes I'd like to try to find the tactic myself, but I can't see it at all here. Yeah, no, I can't see it. Let's see. Show follow-up. What happened here? He took here. But why would I not just... Oh, I guess if I take, he can take back with the knight. I see. Okay, yeah. That makes sense now. He didn't see that though. If I go here, he just takes. So then he wins the pawn either way. That's why it's a blunder, but a little bit hard to see. I almost considered this at one point, I think, didn't I? I considered if he would do that. I don't know if it was at this point in time when I did that, when I was considering if he would sack the knight for some reason, but I didn't see it as a tactic that would work. But I guess it does, because if I take with check, the knight is now guarding the bishop, so he can hop back. Okay. So we blundered, but it wasn't a huge deal. Even after that blunder, I have an advantage because I'm already up a pawn, and it likes my position more even after he wins this pawn. Then he missed. Okay, then I blundered again because he still has the tactic. Okay, so I think this is why the accuracy is so bad, because it just says that I'm blundering over and over and he's missing over and over from the same thing. Yeah. It's just saying everything is a blunder. Okay, so I think I didn't play quite as bad as the accuracy would suggest, because it's just the same tactic over and over. Then he opts back. He never saw that tactic. We trade. Didn't like the knight coming here, but I have a 1.6 advantage. Okay, let's see where I actually messed up though. So here it looks like this isn't an accuracy. It did want me to actually just guard the pawn. You know what? Why didn't I consider that? I considered this, but for some reason I didn't consider this, which is definitely a better move to play a3. Because this pawn is harder to target. The rook's not already looking at it. I mean, he could target it like this or something, but it's not a big issue. If I push this, then it does become an easier target. He's already looking at it here. Yeah, I don't know why. I was only considering playing b3 and not a3 there. But instead I went for the queen trade, which he did take. And I have a nice advantage. It's like almost a +2 advantage here going into the endgame. So I have to see where these pawn moves where I messed up. So I pushed this one. It says inaccuracy. That his was also an inaccuracy though. That was a mistake. Yeah. Pushing this one was what messed me up a lot. It preferred me to play a4 instead of b4. But I can't say I exactly understand why from this point in the game. I mean, he doubled up, and then he created... Honestly, he played that really well at the end, it seemed like. Although, I don't know, the engine says we played terribly, so... Let me see if his moves were bad. So, that was my mistake, yeah. So this was good of him to immediately come in and attack this. I didn't consider this that much of a threat, because it seemed like there were so many ways to guard it. But then he doubled up with the rooks on that one, and then this was a mistake. So it did want the bishop to come back. I totally failed to see that the pin was still in play. Like, I recognized the pin, I just didn't... For some reason, I didn't recognize it was in play with the rook coming up. But the pin is in play here, too. Because this is not guarded because I cut the rooks off. So, what if he just take... No, it's a mistake. Oh, it's a mistake because then I can threaten the undefended knight while removing the pin and threatening the rook at the same time. And he takes here, then I take the knight, and then I guess, no, you can't take that one, it's guarded. Now I'm like up a lot. Okay, so I would have had to see that he could do that, and then I would be able to come back with this double attack, breaking the pin. Again, that's a little tricky to see, but if I had seen that, it would have been really good. I'm not sure what I would have done, actually, because realizing that both the pin is still active either way, I probably would have played the correct move if I realized that I was still pinned by moving the rook. Okay, that was inaccurate of him to go back, but yeah, now the game is even. After he won that pawn, I mean, it was just a few moves ago. Right here, it's plus 1.7. And then I push the pawn, he attacks it, he doubles up his rooks, and then I misplay this, didn't realize the pin, and messed that up, and now we're right back to even, and in fact, he has a little bit of an advantage. That was a mistake as well. Yeah, I guess I attacked this pawn later. I guess I should have attacked it right away. But I was a little concerned about just making a space for the king so there would be no more risks of back rank later. Really, so he attacks the rook with the knight here, and I go over to guard the pawn, and I considered briefly like coming up to guard the pawn, but that seems really like a terrible place for the rook. It's just looking at nothing but my own pawn and bishop. So I didn't want to go for that, but the engine is recommending this. But, you know, the engine doesn't explain very much, so I'm not sure why that's better than this. But now it's at minus 1.5 just about on the eval. That was a mistake. Yeah, I was happy with that move, and now I'm winning again. It just went from minus 1.5 to plus 0.6. So yeah, the eval is pretty volatile in this game. Okay, king up is good, but for some reason that king move is a mistake. Wants me to go here. Then if he takes, what happens? Just take, take, take. Yeah. Okay, that looks good. That looks fine. Okay, we're still equal after I bring the king up. Then I attack with this rook instead of this one, and it doesn't like that. I just wanted to maintain defense over this one, and also potentially use it to push later, so I wasn't really moving this rook at all. Why is this one better? Just look at a couple moves and see. Okay, I don't know. It doesn't, I can't tell. Because nothing immediately happens after that. Okay, that was best. Taking was best. He takes. Knight here was best. And then he blundered. There's a fork. Where's the fork? I mean, go here and I'm attacking that. But I'm not threatening anything else. Oh! Taking en passant is a fork, because the knight's guarding that. Why did I not consider that? Normally I always am, you know, very aware of taking en passant, but I did not consider it here. Probably because I think sometimes when there's a new threat like this, the knight moving, I just like was focused on moving the knight. Or like the threat on the knight, I felt like I had to move the knight. But I didn't even think of taking en passant, which not only is a better way to get out of trouble, but I mean, I guess I was kind of eager to hop into this square as well, so maybe that's why I did want to hop into this outpost. But if I took here, that would be, I would have totally won the game. And I don't know how much elo I would have gained from, I think this is the biggest elo gap. I mean, he's almost 200 points higher that I've had in a game. But I probably would have gained a lot of elo if I was able to convert this a little bit better, since I did have that advantage early on. Okay, we didn't find the right move, so I missed, but we're still back to even. He has a slight advantage. Then he takes, then I take. And doubling up here, I take that way. I missed that there was even this knight check, which, I mean, I should be I should be seeing that. I never like, even if it's not of great consequence, um, I never like when I miss important checks like that, but I have kind of been missing some important ones. And then I was actually slightly having an advantage. We were about equal though. And then I just put the rook here, right inside of the knight, which I also didn't see the previous move, and then I didn't see this move of the knight. So yeah, that was a little bit unfortunate because I might have still had a chance of winning or at least drawing. Even drawing against a guy who's almost 1500, I probably would have gained like 5 elo or something. Um, but yeah, I think that's all there was to look at. The game gave us terrible accuracy, but I think it was not being very fair because it was counting the same blunder that was a little bit tricky to see just over and over and over again for both of us as a blunder and a miss. So I'm guessing our real accuracy, if you exclude that, probably was like high 70s, maybe low 80s. But having like 5 blunders drops it like crazy. Although we did actually have a lot of mistakes. Yeah, this was, I don't think it would be in the 80s because I had that mistake, this mistake, which I'm not sure exactly why it was a mistake. I guess just because I was supposed to pressure the pawn earlier than I did. And he had that mistake. Okay, ignoring the one tactic that we both missed, I think the biggest error was probably this. I would have needed to recognize that his rook can drop in and then double up, and then there's a genuine threat that he can create on these pawns and this pawn. And then playing h4 instead, I guess it just kind of cuts the rook out from doing anything. He can't really come in here and double up. I mean, I'm controlling this square. I guess he could double up like that, but then that seems a lot more awkward, and he's not attacking any of these pawns, so it's not really worth doing. So maybe this was my biggest like real mistake of the game. That was something that was very preventable. And then also this, yeah, both of these. This one's a little bit hard to see though, because I would have had to see that I had the follow up to attack the knight and then re-attack the rook. Maybe I could have seen that. But yeah, I'm trying to mostly focus on the real. Obviously, the blunder at the end was the biggest thing, but I'm trying to mostly focus on the real uh, practical things that I could have seen in the game rather than like crazy tactics that would have been really hard to see. So yeah, a couple basic positional practical mistakes there. This was a practical mistake for him as well. And then I still have no clue why this was a mistake. I guess it calls it a mistake just because it still wanted me to go ahead and very quickly put pressure on this pawn. But it is always good to get the king in the center, so I'm not too worried about this one. I don't think it's a huge mistake, but I think pushing the pawn here was a huge mistake, and then this was a huge mistake. And then, of course, hanging my rook was the biggest mistake of all. But yeah, we're still at 1278. I don't think I lost too many points from that because he was so much higher rated than me, but it's always cool to play against really high rated opponents and see, like in that case, I felt like I almost could have won. I felt like we were playing kind of on the same level. It kept going back and forth until I blundered my rook. So I felt like I had a chance of beating him. Had the nice advantage in the opening, which was cool. And yeah, this has been day 119. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on day 120.